All right, guys. Hope you guys are doing awesome. Just jumped off of a webinar with joint venture partners, and I wasn't going to do the exact same webinar. I had something totally different in mind, but based on the responses that we had, I am actually going to do a quick replay of that webinar so that you guys can understand exactly what you need, because, and I'll give you the background on this so it'll make sense. And before we even get into that, let me check the audio here real quick. If everything's okay on the audio, let me know over here on the right-hand side. For those of you that just watched the other webinar, we're just going to basically, I think, go back through it again because I think it's so ridiculously powerful, and it's information that's really not put out there. Maybe you should listen to it again. I don't know. Whatever. It's just, this is the kind of stuff that has worked for me. When we go back to, you know, when things get tough, why do they get tough? And it's typically because of lack of consistency in what I'm about to show you. What did I have to do after losing everything? It's exactly what I'm about to show you. It's not rocket science. It's not complex. You're not going to hear this anyplace else because it involves stuff that people don't. How do I say that? It doesn't sell well. Let me put it like that. It's reality. It is the secret, but it does not sell well. So, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? What are we talking about? Most of the people that are on here, and I can't speak for everybody, but I would suggest take a wild stab, and if I'm wrong, you know, let me know. I mean, you're here for here. This is a let's do this. Let's do this real quick. Let's get some actual real feedback here. So, why are you here? That's a great question. So let's find out why you guys are here. I want to break free on the slave job. Hey, if you can, if you see a thing over here, an answer that is not one of the ones I put up, because I don't know why you're here, go ahead and put it over in the question box so I can add it, okay? Okay, locational and financial freedom, that's a good one. Anybody got anything else? Anybody got anything else to add before I go with this? You guys can see the screen. Oh, I didn't show the screen. Sorry about that one. God, it's like a pre-flight checklist. You got to go through this thing because it doesn't do everything automatically. All right. So, other than these answers here, anything else? You want to break free from a slave job? You want to make 6 figures in RAI? You want to make 7 figures in RAI? You think I have a funny voice? You want locational and financial freedom? Why are you here on this webinar? What's the reason? What's the purpose? What are you doing here? Right? Here, we'll save that. Now, you guys can answer. So go ahead and take a second to answer that, and then I'm going to roll into this because what I have got for you today, I mean, I can't even tell you how powerful it is, what a difference it has made in my life, what happened when I stopped doing it, okay? What happens to you if you don't do it? What happens if you stop doing it? You'll get to hear the whole thing. Okay, 50% have voted. Anybody else? Okay, you guys can all see that, right? Okay. 55% voted. All right, well, your answers are, you know, for those of you that watched the prior webinar earlier, my JVPs, some of these answers are going to be, you probably want to hang around because they've given me some new stuff to go after here that'll make a lot of sense. Probably some of the questions that you guys have too. Okay, 59% voted. Give it about 10 more seconds. Come on, people. Vote if you're on the webinar. Put an answer in there. So I wish this thing had a thing where I could like send electric shock to the people that are on here that are not paying attention or horse around on Facebook. That'd be awesome. We need to invent that. All right, so we'll stop it there. All right, so here's the results. You guys can see the results of the quick poll. All right, so we got 13% say they want to break free from a slave job. Okay, we got 13% say they want to make 6 figures in REI. We got 20% want to make 7 figures in REI. Nobody thought my voice sounded like, okay, that's kind of you. And then 53% say they want locational and financial freedom. All right, so let's talk about that for a second here. Since that's 53%, that's the biggest one. And it really kind of goes into all of these anyway. Let me close this and get this out of here. And then we're going to go right into this. So let's talk about locational. Okay, reread says want to make, because this is going to make 6 figures. Okay, all right. Locational and financial freedom. How did I here? I'm gonna break this out for you. This is a different slide. It's not part of this presentation, but I'm gonna show this to you real quick. So how did I do this? Right. So you get, and I don't know if financial freedom is necessarily the right term, but I'll define it for you so it makes sense what I define it as. Okay. So for those of you that don't know, my backstory came from nothing, literally single-parent household. My bedroom literally was the dining room of a one-bedroom apartment, no door, no closet, no nothing. Opened up to the kitchen, the bar, had a whole island, not an island, but a bar that was right there with the pass-through and all that. It's back, 1970s apartment complex in Ocala, Florida. And my bed was a rollaway mattress. You guys know what a rollaway is? The beds they used to have in the hotels that fold up and go in the closet. So it's about a 3.5, 4-inch mattress that's on there, and that's what I would unroll every day and sleep on the floor. And that was my life until I was 17, and I got a parental waiver, joined the military to get the hell out of there. And single parent, so all the battles with the child support not being paid and all the other, same crap with family fighting over you and all that kind of stuff. And not a pleasant experience, okay? Not a pleasant experience. And growing up, I don't want to use the term poor, because I think, poor, in my opinion, is not an income station. Poor is a state of mind, okay? It's an attitude, okay? You guys don't know that. Poor is a state of mind. It's a choice. It's a selective choice that you make mentally. On a daily basis. And so you have to be the one that makes the decision whether or not you're going to be poor or not, okay? It is a frame of mind. I mean, it's a state of mind. It's your attitude, okay? And I didn't choose to let that be my future, okay? So when I was young and in my tween years and then teen years, they had a bookstore I go to all the time. I was an avid reader. I had nothing else to do but have video games. I think we had Pong or something. But I was never allowed to have an Atari and all that because, of course, video games are the way to the devil. I'm sure you guys know that, right? That's how you go to hell, video games. So my choice was to I had to do all the work around the house, and then eventually at the age of 14, I was forced to lie about my age to get a job as a busboy at a local restaurant. At the time I was 16, fortunately I was tall, I was over 6 foot at that point, and so nobody questioned the fact that I was only 14, and then started paying all the bills, okay, from the time I was 14 years old. Now, it's not a sob story, so I must understand that for what it is, okay? Anything that doesn't tell you makes you stronger. These things really became the foundation and the root for everything else that I've gone through in my entire life and how I've been able to bounce back and overcome and just deal with things in a different capacity than most people. So I'm not on here crying to you about, okay, my childhood sucked, even though it did, and these are all the things I had to go through, because as bad as it was infinitely better than what a lot of people experience, okay? So a lot of really, really bad, funky stuff went on, but nonetheless, it became sort of the foundation for things. So you know, I knew very early on I did not want that type of lifestyle. Okay, so I was reading the Robb Report. If you guys don't know what the Robb Report and the DuPont Registry are, these are magazines that are for the like the super wealthy of, you know, $500,000 cars and $150,000 watches and all kinds of crazy stuff that most people have never even seen or heard of. But that's what the whole thing was all around. And that's just, I just was consumed with like, okay, that's, I want the very best. All these gorgeous, you know, mansions and all this great, wonderful stuff. And I was willing to work for it. And so that became my vision, okay? And it's very important to have a vision. It's very important to understand what it is you're doing, what you're working for. And so when the opportunity came along, I was able to convert the opportunity, despite the fact that I dropped out of high school, despite the fact that I dropped out of college, despite the fact that I had no degree or any of the leg ups that people think with connections and that kind of thing. None of those things. When the opportunity came along, I grabbed that bad boy and would not let go. And that's where I started making six figures from my very first year in sales. Okay. Long story. Ended up selling manufactured housing, mobile homes in Ocala, Florida. Not that I would have ever wiped my foot off on a mobile home salesman. Very long, convoluted story. I'll share in a couple of the other webinars on how that ended up happening. It was kind of a weird scenario. But nonetheless, basically, I'd gotten screwed on a deal where I'd put together a 3-year deal with what became Bank of America, and I ended up getting screwed out of that in the income. And one of the people, or one of the companies that I've been marketing to for that, because Ocala, Florida, if you've never been there, it's like the mobile home capital of the world as far as dealerships are concerned, or at least it was back 20 years ago. Every time I would walk into this place to sell them the marketing and the advertising for the event that we were putting on, the guys would tell me, you know, hey, you need to come to work here. You can make $100,000 a year, make $100,000 a year, right? And I was like, what? What are you talking about, right? Selling mobile homes? You're out of your mind? And these are like, you know, hillbilly rednecks that I wouldn't say had pretty high IQs telling me this, right? So when all that happened, and I ended up getting screwed on that deal that I was counting on, you know, I'm sitting there going through the damn couch looking for change. This is not a joke. Okay? I'm not even, this is like looking for the, if you guys know Checkers, maybe, I don't know how far they've gotten across the nation, but Checkers had a 99-cent hamburger, okay? And it's a Checkers fast food restaurant in the South anyway. So they had a 99-cent hamburger, and I'm going through the couch looking for change. Okay, it got so bad because I'm out of money and I didn't get paid that this is all, those of you that are 40 or over will understand and appreciate this. I remember like it was yesterday, going out to the mailbox, got no money, trying to figure things out, and here in the mailbox, you guys don't remember the MCI and AT&T and Ma Bell days, there was a check for, I think it was $45 if I would switch my long distance. Okay, maybe some of you guys may not remember that. This is way back before cell phone, or not, I guess right before cell phones started coming out. But long distance was a big thing back then, and they would pay you. They send you a check, and you would cash the check, and then automatically they would switch your long distance service over. And I can't remember. I think it was with MCI, and I got a check for AT&T for $45. I was like, hell yeah, I'll switch the damn service. Right? I don't care. And deposited that check, and that's how I ate. And then these guys are telling me $100,000 a year, and I'm like, okay, I'm down to my thing here, and I'm looking at what they're saying, and there was a draw against commission. If you guys don't know what that means, it means that when you go into commission sales, a lot of times, you know, guys like I was at the time were broke, where they got to have income coming in to survive until they can get their first sale and their first commission check. And so the draw against commission was $300 a week. Okay, my expenses conveniently happened to be $900 a month, with the rent, with the gas, with the utilities, with food, with everything. Was $900 a month. So I had just enough at $300 a week to cover everything and have another $300, which, you know, was still really super tight. But I had enough, and I'm like, okay, I don't really have any other alternatives, even though this is not what I want to do. I'm going to go do this because, you know, eating is better than not eating. And I had a mentor at the time that told me, you know, I know it's not what you want to do, and this is something I'm going to tell you guys, and I hope you listen to me. Very, very important, okay? So sometimes these things in your life, they happen. You perceive them as bad things, and they're really not bad things, okay? They're really good things you just don't understand yet, okay? Because your paradigm hasn't been illuminated for you to understand why it was a good thing. So getting screwed on a deal, I thought was a bad thing, right? Having to go to work for selling mobile homes, okay, which I wouldn't, like I said, I wouldn't have wiped my foot off on a mobile home salesman. I thought was a bad thing. I hated it, right? Just hated that moniker. It's like, how worse can I feel about myself that I'm selling mobile homes for a living, right? Because I wouldn't have lived in one, right? And you go through those things. So the mentor tells me, look, I know it's not what you want to be doing, okay? But, everybody pay attention, you should write this down, okay? Because these are words of wisdom to live by. Even though it's not what you want to be doing, learn everything you can and be the very best mobile home salesman that you can be. And I was like, you son of a bitch, that's exactly what I did not want to hear, right? I'm over here pissing and moaning, fussing, right? Not happy, don't want to do this, right? I would rather have been, dragged over broken glass than have to go do this. And this is the advice that he gave me. It was, learn everything you can, become the very best mobile home salesman that you can, because, and he finalized it up with this, because you have no idea where it's going to take you. So let me repeat that, because I cut it off short on the first time. Learn everything you can, be the very best that you can be at it, because you have no idea where it's going to take you. And he was right. Okay? As much as I hate to admit it, I hated to admit it, and as I saw it all unfolding, he was absolutely correct. Okay, so what did I do? I followed his advice. Okay, and while I sat there waiting in between prospects showing up on the lot, I read every sales book that I could put my hands on. Okay, what did I do after I got trained in sales? I put together 3x5 cards with all the objection handling. Okay, how do you handle all the closing techniques? How do you do all these things? Right? I practiced daily with one of the other guys in the office who was an expert closer, and made him hit me with objections every time he came in contact with me in the break room or out on the lot or whatever it is. And I had to go through that, getting my teeth kicked in and not being as good of a closer as I would have liked to have been, but that's how I got to the point where I could handle objections like water off a duck's back, and people can come at me with anything, and it doesn't make a difference and all that, but that's only because I did those things to become the very best. And I'm not saying that I'm best. That's not an ego thing, so I misunderstand that. What I'm trying to tell you is that my objective, I strove daily for excellence. And most people don't do that, okay? Most people don't do that in anything in their life, quite frankly. Take a look at the current health of America, okay? Most people are not striving for excellence in anything. Take a look at the current financial situation in America. 76% of the population, one missed check away from bankruptcy. One missed paycheck away from bankruptcy, 76% of the population. These are the people that you guys are getting advice from on Facebook most of the time, unfortunately. Okay, so most people are not striving for excellence. So that's what I had to do, and I did that, and I became the very best. I became the number one guy that was there. I then got hired away to another place, became the number one guy there, and that job, I got the foundation. They flew us up to Greensboro, North Carolina for a week-long professional sales training thing where I took the bulls, owls, lambs, and tigers and disc test and all that, and they taught us how to sell and close. They taught us the whole thing, and it was fantastic. Okay, and I wouldn't have traded that for anything in the world, because it became the foundation, that ability to professionally sell and close in a conversational, consultative style. So you're not a used car salesman, pushy guy, whatever. That became just the bedrock of everything that I have done since. Okay, and it is that knowledge, that experience, as much as I didn't want to go through it, didn't want to sell mobile homes, right? That got parlayed and leveraged into leveling up and leveling up and leveling up, okay? And that's kind of what you guys are doing. Okay, so we're getting back to locational and financial freedom. So how did that happen for me? Well, it was long. It was a hard road, guys. I'm telling you, it was, guys and gals, it was a tough road, because the whole backstory. I was in mortgage banking, owned a mortgage company, raised over $1 million. Think about this now, $1 million. Okay, that big buzzword number that everybody thinks is so incredible. $1 million liquid. Non-recourse. You guys know what non-recourse means? Non-recourse. Okay? I'm not on the hook for any of it. No personal guarantees, no nothing. Wired directly into my bank account for my use as I saw fit for a project that we were coming out of the gate with that was highly profitable. Okay? Until they pulled the plug on mortgage banking or mortgage-backed securities and securitization and all the stuff that we went through back in late 2006, early 2007. And at that time, okay, we got multiple houses, driving a $72,000 Lexus LX 470, a $75,000 Mercedes Benz for my wife, making money hand over fist, living in a $2.5 million builder's custom model home with, I mean, the things we had in this house was, I mean, it was disgusting. It was sick, okay? Just telling you, it was like, you know, it was the epitome of everything everybody says they want: summer kitchens and hot tubs outside. And we had this custom pool that had won all kinds of awards, and so we had people knocking on the door because they wanted to come see it because it's been featured in magazines and all this crazy stuff, right? So living high on the hog, everything's going fantastic, drinking ridiculous wine. So, I mean, you know, we used to, you know, you're young and stupid, you do all kinds of stuff because you're not planning for the future. I mean, hell, going to get a limo and taking friends out to Ruth's Chris, Capitol Grill, whatever. I mean, it was like nothing. That was like a weekly occurrence. Okay, $500 for the limo, not a problem. Okay, that way we don't have to worry about DUIs. Okay, we would go do all that kind of stuff all the time because the money was just flowing like crazy until it stopped flowing, and then yeah, it was not good, not good, not good at all. And because this is why I harp so much now, and I have been for the last decade, about multiple streams of income and preferably multiple streams of internet income. Okay? Because guess what I didn't have? I didn't have multiple streams of income, and I didn't have multiple streams of internet income. I had one stream of income, and that was from mortgages, and I was excellent at it until they turned the faucet off. And then I went from 6 figures per month to 0 overnight. Couldn't make any money, couldn't get deals closed, nothing. They, I mean, literally turned the faucet off. And now we're still, here was the challenge though, we're still staring down all these expenses that we've got, right? And one of the office locations, $27,000 a month just for the rent on the office. That didn't include the employees or salaries, anything. Okay, and this is one location. Got another location that was what the hell was that? $6,000 a month, I think. We had 6,000. I mean, our damn it was called a bonded T3 line back in the day for internet. Was running us $6,000 a month with Verizon to run all the stuff that we had to have. Copy machines, leases, all. I mean, just you name it. All the expenses continued, but the income stopped, and that was not a good place to be. And eventually, I don't care who you are, when they cut your income off, this is why it's so imperative to have multiple streams of income and multiple streams of internet income today, the advent of the internet. I don't care who you are, eventually push comes to shove, you beg, borrow, and steal everything you can, and then something has to give. And that something that has to give, sadly, becomes you. And if you've never been through, and the point I'm getting to here, guys, just so you understand, is you talk about why locational and financial freedom. I'm trying to tell you how I got there so you don't have to go through that. Okay? You get to leapfrog what I went through if you'll simply listen, so you don't have to go through those things. Okay? I was arrogant because my wife, and I'll never forget this, had asked me before the whole implosion, was like, what if the mortgage business went away, right? I kind of laughed. What are you talking about? People can't pay cash for houses. As long as they can't pay cash for houses, there's always going to be a mortgage business. Well, she was right. It went away, and it went away overnight. Now, yes, there's still a mortgage business, but it is nothing like what it once was, nor is the income there like what it once was. So, yes, it effectively went away, and when it did, it took basically everything that I had built at that point with it. Okay, friendships, partnerships, destroyed. Okay, integrity destroyed. Everything just got, I mean, upended. I remember, think about this for a second. Okay, you guys want to understand reality. You don't hear people talking about these kind of things when they're telling you about what their actual story is. So I'm sitting there one day as this whole thing is coming down, and we're out of money, and I got payroll to make. I can't make the payroll. And let me tell you something. If you've never been in that situation, it is a horrible situation to be in. Horrible, right? And what do most people do? I've had it done to me before at places. They lock the doors. They just don't let people in. They don't answer calls. They don't talk, they disappear, and that's not what we get. I sat everybody down, and I said, hey, look, I said, here's where we're at. This is what's going on. Okay, not planned. I apologize. If you want to go find another job, I'm happy to provide everybody great references. If you want to stick it out for a little bit to see if we can pull out of this thing, and this is what we're working on, that whole thing. And I had a girl tell me, and I remember this to this day. One of our loan processors We had a $16,000 conference table. Okay, this thing was gigantic. Damn thing was like, it was a custom, I don't know, damn thing must have been 30 feet long. And she's like, why don't you just sell the conference table, right, to make payroll? And I'm like, well, I'd be happy to if you can tell me where I can go that somebody's going to give me, you know, even half of what it's worth. I'd be happy to do that to, you know, at least make a portion of payroll, get you guys paid, right? You think about it, somebody's asking me, it's like, you know, sell the conference table, right? Like, okay, I'm happy to sell the conference. Well, ultimately what ended up happening is we ended up having to unload anything and everything that wasn't nailed down as things continue to get worse. Okay, losing houses, going through foreclosure, selling custom drapes that I had made for my wife, selling every computer thing I had, Bose surround sound systems, pulling stuff out of the walls in the house. I mean, you know, wine refrigerator. I mean, you name it. If it wasn't nailed down and it had any type of value, that's how I learned Craigslist backwards and forwards, because that became the new source of income, was selling the house and everything that was in it on Craigslist so that I could keep the kids in milk and diapers at that point, keep the electricity on. And, you know, it was a horrible time, okay? I mean, absolutely terrible time. And I don't want to see any of you guys have to go through that, but here's what it did from a paradigm standpoint. When you talk about locational and financial freedom, now, for me at that time, I mean, I got basically lost everything, ended up having to sleep on the in-laws' couch because they didn't have enough. I had previously had them on a $1.6 million house down in Lakewood Ranch in the country club, and when everything went upside down, they went and got a, I forget what, I think it was a 3-bedroom up in, it had been Alpharetta, but they carved it out, and it was in Milton, Georgia, if you guys know where that's at, off Windward Parkway on the west side of 400. It was a little small, probably, I don't know, 1,400 square foot house. And they didn't have enough beds in the bedrooms for all of us. And so, of course, I had to suck it up and ended up sleeping on the couch. I'm 6'4", 6'5" with the afro. And the couch was about 5'8", I think, something like that. So, yeah, not long enough. Feet hanging off. Half the time I slept with the ottoman out there, sliding out from under me, me falling on the floor in the middle of the night. So yeah, these are some of the things that actually happened in reality. Okay, so I went through all of that, and that became the impetus for locational and financial freedom. Well, why locational freedom? Because I had no place to go. Right, didn't have a house to go to. Now no longer tied down. And as we started getting back on our feet through real estate, that became, you know, the impetus for the multiple streams of income and multiple streams of internet income. And it also helped create the locational and, if you want to call it, financial freedom. What I call financial freedom is this, is the ability to generate cash every single day via the internet. Okay, to me, I mean, most people cannot do that. If I had to ask you guys, everybody that's on here, okay, you guys can answer over in the question box, of all the people that are on here, if 100% of your income starting right now, like this very second, had to come from the internet. Okay? Can't do anything locally, can't meet with anybody, can't do it. 100% of it had to come from the internet. Could you survive? Would you survive? Based on your current skill set, your current knowledge. And I would venture to guess that probably 99% are going to say no, they could not. They wouldn't know what to do, where to begin, how to generate money, or how to generate cash on a daily basis from the internet. Okay? And this is, I'm telling you right now, this is some of, yes, Robert, I know you were going to say yes. But yeah, most people don't have that ability, okay? And to me, one of the most powerful abilities right now isn't necessarily how much you have in a bank account, because that bank account can get swept by the IRS, which has happened to me before. That bank account can disappear. That's not freedom money in a bank account, okay? It's bondage of a separate kind, and it's not to say that you don't want money in a bank account, although there's arguments against that as well. But that's not financial freedom, having $1 million in a bank account. If you don't know what I mean by that, yeah, it sounds wonderful until it gets taken away from you, right? So financial freedom, in my opinion, based on my definition, is the ability to generate revenue, cash in your account on a daily basis on the internet through multiple streams. And that's the reason I push everybody in those directions, so that you guys can do the exact same thing. Because let me tell you something, it's unbelievably empowering to know that when you wake up, you have that ability to generate cash today. And most people do not have that. Think about it, people that work jobs. What do? They have to work, and then they have to wait, right? Let's take a look. If we take a look at this side by side, what happens? They have to work, and then they have to wait to get paid. Okay? If you guys watched the webinar I did a couple weeks ago, what happens? How do I do things? Totally different. I get paid, and then I work. Okay? See the difference? Which one do you like better? You want to get paid first and then work? Get paid to then create stuff? That's how I do it. That's how every successful internet marketer that I know does it as well, right? Totally different, totally different. Much better scenario to get paid, have cash in hand, be able to do it on a daily basis, and then do the work. And what's even better is, and a lot of you guys have heard me say this over and over again, the beauty of internet marketing and doing educational information, ebooks, memberships, courses, whatever, is that you guys should really write this stuff down. I'm telling you, let it sink in. You create content once, and you get paid many times. So, as opposed to the employee who has to work based on performance of a job, or they have to work based on number of hours, and they get paid once. Okay, in internet marketing, you have the ability to work one time and get paid many times off that work. So think of like royalties, think of additional sales, think of you create a digital product, and the digital product is now, you have the ability to make money on that in perpetuity. Okay, over and over and over and over and over again, many times over. So when we talk about locational financial freedom, so for me, locational freedom was hard and it was easy. Okay, so why do I have locational freedom right now? Well, because I lost everything. Okay, I would like for you guys not to have to go through that. Now, I will tell you one thing too. All right. Fortunately for me, the 4-hour work week came out right as all this was going on, so I had a massive paradigm shift as I was going through this thing. So I didn't repeat the mistakes of the past, and I didn't go back into creating the localized brick and mortar prison, which is what it is. Okay, I didn't do that. I said, you know what, enough of all that. I like this plan better, where I can be wherever I want to be. I can chase the weather. I can do whatever I want to do when I want to do it, and make money from anywhere. I like that plan better than, okay, I got to get up at 6 o'clock. Okay, I got to be at the office by 7 in a $1,200 suit. I got the first appointment at 8 o'clock, and we're going to be in there for 45 minutes, and then I got them stacked back behind that over and over and over again with the same mortgage presentation over and over, so that we can then get these loans going through. And then I got, employees I got to deal with, and I got interviews I got to deal with, and so-and-so didn't show up, and so-and-so quit, and blah, 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 all of that stuff that goes, and now I got to deal with paychecks and payroll and all this other crap that you have to deal with, and FICA and all this sort of nonsense that most people, if you never owned a business, you don't understand all the hassles that go along with it. Like, I don't want to do all that again, okay? So after making, after kind of realigning and figuring out the virtual real estate investor, what became the virtual real estate investor sort of platform, and I made, banged out 15 grand on a deal, or I forget, it was one deal, 2 deals, I think, and got off the couch and took the family to Orlando, to the Reunion Resort, for those of you guys who know that, and took them there for 6 months. We got all the park hopper passes and all that stuff. I made 30 grand in the first 10 days I was in Orlando. We have now just come back here for the second time, so that we can kind of basically repeat the thing again, where we're going to be here probably for 4 or 5, 6 months, depending on the weather, so the kids can have that experience one more time. But I can do those things because I do have vocational independence. Okay, I can be where I want. We were at the beach a couple weeks ago. Okay, we were up in Asheville, and through August 15th, I think it was. Prior to that, Myrtle Beach, and we've been all over this year, taking the kids out to California, Legoland, spent a month out there right on the Pacific Ocean, taking them to Legoland at every opportunity, having a good time. This is before they built the Legoland here in Orlando. So that locational freedom, now it came as a result, like I said, of losing everything, so I didn't have that home base to go to. Didn't really want it once I had read the 4-Hour Work Week and understood that, you know, this is a big thing for a lot of people. They can't, you know, they can't fathom not having a permanent residence. Well, I haven't had a permanent residence in 10 years. Okay, think about that for a second. Does that freak you out? How does that make you feel? You didn't have a permanent residence for a 10-year period of time. Hell, even a month. I'm a permanent residence, right? Sounds crazy, right? Well, once you get your head around the fact that all this material crap and losing everything will do that for you, by the way, which is why I'm trying to hopefully instill in you that you can listen to me and not have to go through that process. But losing everything, having to sell all your stuff on Craigslist, all that stuff, it really quantifies what is important and what is not important, and certainly what is important as it relates to material possessions. Because now, whatever the material possessions are that are important to me, I have to cart around with me all over the United States, right? So that really helps you really pare things down mentally, and you find out what truly is important. And I can sum it up very simply. I mean, it's for us, it's very simple. What's the real primary thing is the stuff that we use to make money. So the computers, microphones, the stuff I use on a daily basis to generate income. Those things, those tools that we use, became the primary priority as it relates to material possessions. Now, that doesn't mean I'm sacrificing, so don't misunderstand that. When you do the vacation rental thing, which we do, and we have been doing for a long time, you know, I'm in gated, you know, garden-gated resort communities that have all kinds of crazy stuff. We got a water park, I mean, like a full-on water park with slides and all that stuff here, and golf courses and arcades inside the neighborhood and all kinds of crazy stuff. I mean, they got it all. I mean, everything you can imagine. Gyms, you know, it's all right here. So it's, and the houses, just so you guys understand, if you've never done a vacation rental thing, I mean, they're totally decked out. I mean, they've done everything all the way up to about $2.5 million houses and penthouses and that kind of thing. And they got all the, I mean, they got all the latest and greatest flat panel TVs and internet and, you know, I don't know, whatever you guys think is awesome. And I don't know, so I'm kind of out of touch with all that stuff because I don't really care. I watch how much television to begin with, but nonetheless, you become letting go of the material stuff. You would not believe how freeing that really is, okay? Because that stuff is really an anchor for you, even though you may not want to think that way. You think you have to have certain things for your ego. You think you have to have certain things for, you know, your station in life, to keep up with the Joneses, to impress people, that kind of thing. Once you let go of all that, I can have all that. I can have whatever, you know, whatever. Once you let go of all that stuff, I mean, it's unbelievably freeing, okay? I'm just telling you, talk about actual true freedom psychologically. Let go of all of that stuff, the stuffitis, okay, which I had in my 30s, trying to fill that void, making all that money, trying to fill that void, stuffitis. Yeah, once you let go of all that stuff, man, and some of that comes with maturity, some of that comes with getting whacked over the head like whack-a-mole when you make some stupid decisions and you're forced into a scenario like that. But once you let go of all, unbelievably freeing, okay? Unbelievably freeing, okay? Now, as it relates to the financial freedom aspect, like I said, I can't emphasize this enough. Multiple streams of income, multiple streams of internet income, the ability to generate income every single day, and the only thing that you need, okay, think about this now, the only thing that you need is what you're on right now. You already have it. You got a computer because you're on this webinar, or you got an iPhone or an Android or whatever. To make money on the internet, you already have everything you need right now, okay, every single day. So whether or not you select, elect, choose to utilize that and go in that direction, that I can't help you with. That's the decision you have to make. But I'm going to tell you, with the stuff that's coming down the road with the economy, okay, with the fake national debt, with all the stuff that's happening, you know, you really, 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 really need to be generating multiple streams of income and multiple streams of internet income, so that, you know, if there's an industry shift where, let's talk about that for a second. What's at all-time highs again? Anybody? Okay, stock market's been at all-time high forever. Real estate is so overinflated it's not even funny. Again, right? So what do you think is going to happen? It's just going to keep going up and up and up and up and up and up. The pipe train, That's what I thought back in 2007, 2006, remember? I mean, it's not sustainable. Okay, you got all that fake QE, quantitative easing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 27 that's flooded through the system. You know, where they get these valuations as far as the stock market is concerned, because, you know, a stock, right, ownership in a corporation, ownership in a company, the valuations that they come up with are based on what? They're based on multiples, but based on multiples of what? We don't produce anything anymore. So it's all based off of artificially inflated profit from the money that's been pumped into the system. And all that stuff is not sustainable. It's been a wonderful ride, but you guys better get ready, okay? And if you're in a slave job right now, your number one focus is getting out of it and doing exactly what I'm showing you right now. If you're out of a slave job right now, the focus is getting 6 figures coming in other sources, whether it's real estate investing, whether it's something else on the internet. And if you're already doing 6 figures, the next step is to level up again and take it to the 7-figure mark. And it's out there, and you can do it. Okay, you absolutely can do it. If you never generated over $100,000 a month, $200,000 a month, I'm telling you, it feels fantastic. Okay, it is fantastic, and you can do it. Who am I? I don't have any special skill set. I had to learn all this stuff the hard way. Right? Lose everything. Right? Get ripped off by IT guys. So go learn all the stuff so they can't rip you off anymore. Learn how to code. Learn how to build websites. Learn how to do funnels. Learn how to integrate merchant accounts and create information products, and learn how to do all the stuff that we talk about all the time. It's all out there. Most of it's out there for free too, so you guys can do it. But you really got to get going in that direction. So for me, like I said, and then we'll get back to really what the purposes of today's webinar was. But the location and financial freedom thing, locational is I can go anywhere I want, whenever I want, thankfully. Okay, we just did it. Unbelievable freedom in that. Hurricane coming, not a problem. Bye. Okay, not a negative impact. You understand what I'm saying? Because I can pick up and go and still be living in luxury. Okay, from the standpoint of, okay, something's down as far as an income stream, not a problem. Guess what? We've got multiple. Guess what? We've got new ones coming out of the gate all the time. Right? You do a pre-launch of something, and all of a sudden you have money instantly. We covered all this in a prior webinar. You guys can all do all of those things. So if you want locational and financial freedom, what are you going to have to do? It's very simple. Put this on here. I think this was actually Apple's motto or slogan or whatever for quite some time. You got to think different, okay? You got to think different. This society, what do? What is this society designed to do? Create great slave job workers, okay? That's what it's designed for. Education system's not an education system, it's an indoctrination system. It's designed to create good, obedient slave workers. To not do that, to have the freedom to be where you want to be, when you want to be there, to be generating income even while you're sleeping, okay? To generate income every single day where you get paid and you have consistency of cash flow coming in, to be able to create something from nothing, okay? Literally something from nothing and make money. You have to get away from the definition of insanity, and that's doing the same thing repeatedly and expecting a different result. You have to think different, okay? So take a look at who you spend your time with. What are they doing, okay? And listen, you guys know I'm kind of a jerk. You guys know that. I'm very protective of my time. And even when I was in my 20s, okay, trying to make it for the first time, this was how I operated, okay? And this maybe, you know, like I said, maybe it makes me a jerk, whatever, but it has to do with focus. They talk about, you know, you're the, what is it, sum total of your closest 5 friends or whatever. If you weren't where I wanted to be, okay, financially, or you weren't heading in that direction with an unbelievable passion, I don't have anything to do with you. I don't have time, okay? And it's the same way now. If you're not where I want to be, or you're not going where I want to go with an unbelievable fire in your belly, I don't have time. Okay? What have you done for me lately? You got nothing for me. You got nothing that I want to be a part of. Okay? Does that make sense? This is how wealthy people think. Okay? This is how intelligent people think. You guys need to think the same exact way. I mean, you may have buddies from high school and college and all this stuff. That's wonderful. But if they're a bunch of losers, what is that going to make you? You hang around with them, okay? Doesn't mean you can't like them and okay, be cordial and all that. But at the same time, you got to be very, very protective of your time and your mind. Excuse me, who you're letting impact that. So you got to think differently, right? So what I do, people think is crazy. Right? What do? Don't have a permanent house. Haven't had one for 10 years. Go where I want to go. So I had this lady tell me this one time. It was hilarious. So I wish I had a photograph or a video of her when she said this to me. But she heard, she had understood kind of what we were doing. She's like, well, how come you don't have a permanent house, right, or a permanent residence or whatever? And my answer to her was, let me ask you a question. Well, why do you? Right? And it like totally caught her off guard. Like you could almost see her eyeballs roll back in her head because now she had to think, right? Why are you stuck here? And this was actually in College Station, Texas, which you guys have never been there. It's like the armpit of America. And I'm like, why do you? And why, of all places on earth, would you pick this place? Because it sucks. Okay, right? And had to think, and it's because of the societal, social, psychological conditioning of the herd. And this is what you're supposed to do when you go to school: get good grades, so you can go to student debt and go to college. You get a job that's not promised or guaranteed for you, for student loans now that you're $100,000, $200,000 in debt for, that you can't file bankruptcy on, right? So you can get that job, work that job 5 days a week, 6 days a week, get your 2 days off with the rest of the herd on Saturday and Sunday, get your 1 or 2 weeks off a year, you're working for a pension that's no longer there in a 401k system that is set up against you. It is not for you. It is a transfer of wealth from you to them. So don't understand that. Get out of these 401ks because they're coming after them. I'm telling you right now. But it's the mouse on the wheel, right? And then you go out there and you get your house, right? Pay your taxes, keep your head down, push the buttons, fill out the paperwork, and just do this cycle over. And that's not that's not living, guys and gals. That is not living. Okay, it is not living. It's not. There's nothing freeing about that. It's not freedom. It's not independent. That is not living. Okay, you guys may not understand this. It may sound a little crazy to you, sound a little kooky, but humans throughout history have been nomads. Okay, you guys understand that? It's natively, inherently in our DNA to be migratory, to move locations. Okay, and if you go back, if you're a true student of human history, when do civilizations get decimated? When's the only time? Not when they're nomadic. They don't get decimated. It's when they try to stand ground in one location. So by default, this is how we actually are, and they've convinced most of the population in society to do things in a way that makes them easily controlled. Okay, so don't do that. Start thinking differently. If you want locational independence, you're going to have a massive paradigm shift. You're going to have to do things differently. Okay, for the average person, not having what they call a permanent residence would totally freak them out. And to me, it's like just another day. It's nothing. There's nothing different about that. We do things a little differently. Okay, a lot more fun, a lot cooler. Okay, telling you the truth. From an income standpoint, okay, financial freedom. What is financial freedom? Is it a bunch of money in a bank account? Not really. I mean, because you can most of the Powerball winners and Lotto winners are broke within 3 to 5 years, right? And they can't replace the income. You guys know that, right? You guys know the statistics. Like what is it? Like 97% of them are broke within 3 to 5 years of winning the lottery because they don't know anything about financial management. Does that make sense? I don't know. Okay, but the ability to generate income consistently, to create, okay. To create. Okay, well, Joshua, you say you got to figure out school for the 13-year-old. I have 4, 11, and 12. Okay, homeschooled, brother. Let me figure out. Okay, it requires work, and it's hard work, and is it worth it? Yes, because guess what? They're not getting indoctrinated in the Luciferian public slave indoctrination camp, which is all it is. Okay, I don't want them indoctrinated with that nonsense. That's what the school system is for. Okay. You got 11 and 12. The 12-year-old's almost 13. He'll be 13 here in December. 11-year-old will be 12 in February, and the 4-year-old will be 5 in April. Okay, she can already read. Okay, all my kids, we taught them to read early. They knew sign language. Knew before they were 2, knew all their colors, all their shapes, sign language, Spanish, you name it. Okay, they're not going to get that in school. Yeah, stuff in school. I mean, hell, what do they teach them in kindergarten now at the age of 5? Colors, shapes, and you know what I mean? So that system is not for you. Okay? Joshua, just get them out. Okay? I mean, it's as simple as that. Get them out. The system is not for you. It's not going to help them in any way, shape, or form. And the whole argument about socialization is a bunch of nonsense. Okay? My kids deal better with adults than kids that are in school because they deal with adults all the time. So anyway, all right, so that's it. Now let me get back to the here. We're going to go through, and I've only got a few minutes left here, so we're going to burn through this other one. This is what I went through with my JVPs earlier today, and I cannot emphasize enough for you guys the importance of what I'm about to tell you. So please take notes. I'm going to go really fast so we don't have to belabor the subject. Yeah, okay, before I get, okay, Joshua says we will try again. No, okay, here, let me show you this. No, we don't. Get out of here. Okay, you need to learn this. Okay. Learn this. Get your vocabulary correct. Okay? We don't try. We do. Okay? We do. Right? Exactly. No trying. Losers try. Quitters try. Winners do. So, yeah, temporarily forgot. Yeah, don't forget. Especially around me. Okay, so I'm going to cover this really fast. I would advise that you take notes. This played gangbusters on the other webinar. People really resonated with what I'm about to show you. Part of the challenge that you run into when you're doing any type of info courses, products, webinars, anything like that, as it relates to helping somebody become successful and make money and doing something is this. Here's the difference. If you're an employee of mine, okay, I have met you face to face, I have your resume, I know your background, I know your history, I know your experience, I have spoken to you, and you're in my facility, my office location, I can see what your work product is and what your performance is, and then I can help course correct and auto adjust on those things to help get you to where you need to be if you're in any type of a sale, well, any capacity, but especially if you're in a sales position or commission position, which is essentially what real estate investing when we're doing joint venture partner stuff is. It's really, you know, it's sales and you're in it for a percentage of the deal, so it's not really not different than commission sales. But when you deal on this end, okay, this side of the desk, and you're selling a product of some type, whether that's the group JVP, the one-on-one JVP, just the academy in and of itself, whether you're doing free webinars for people, all the free stuff we put out in the Facebook group. What I don't have knowledge of is when somebody signs up and they pay money is what's their background, what's their experience, and I realize that, see, this is a good thing about these webinars is sometimes, like in talking through this stuff, it helps me realize where we're falling short on some things that we probably shouldn't be, and we need to really, you know, start capturing this information to truly help get people going in the right direction, because a lot of people are new. And everybody that comes in has a different level of experience. Some have none, they have zero experience, zero knowledge, don't know anything about contract law or business or real estate law, real estate investing, contract types, anything about sales. Some have just, they know nothing, and okay, they're all jacked up and excited because now they think they have an opportunity to make 6 figures and it's not going to cost them anything. Nothing wrong with that, but you know, you need to understand when we talk about people's success and or lack thereof when they get involved in any type of a course, you're running the gamut here of people at all different experience levels, okay, all different knowledge levels. And when I have a partner, we covered this earlier, when I have a partner, the expectation is partners are going to work like I do, right? If you're in it for half, you got to work you know, your job, you have to do your part, and you have to work like I do so that we make the money. What happens when you get people signing up for these types of things, unfortunately, is that, again, they're coming from all different walks of life, all different scenarios. Some still working slave jobs trying to get out of them. Some have dabbled in an area, done a deal or two. Some are self-employed. Some are trying to get to 6 figures for the very first time. Some are trying to get to 7 figures for the very first time. So it's all over the place. And even when you have people, now let me clarify this so this makes sense, because a lot of you may not be aware of this. And this will probably sound, I don't want to, it's not braggadocious, it's not egotistical, it's whatever, but I mean, I've had attorneys pay me, you know, money for coaching, okay? Real estate attorneys, think about this for a second. Real estate attorney come to me, paying me to coach them on how to build a real estate investing business, because while they know real estate law and contracts and title, can sell title insurance and can close, running an actual real estate investment business is something totally and completely different. Okay. Board certified surgeons making $270,000 a year on salary with Kaiser Permanente coming to me for coaching. Okay. On real estate investing, because they had gone through some things and gotten raked over the coals on a rehab and lost a bunch of money. And I ended up selling the house for them in 48 hours and made money. And okay, well, now you obviously know what you're doing. When you know, the guy that sold me the course didn't know, realtors couldn't do it. Nobody can sell this house, and bam, within 48 hours you got it done, and I got a check or a wire, right? So you got to understand that people are coming in to this scenario from all walks of life, and it's not just slave job employees. And if you're a slave job employee, I'm not trying to be offensive to you. I'm trying to wake you up to what the reality is, that you need to get out of it. I was one once for many years. Get out of it, okay? You need to start thinking through with some of the stuff and taking action on what I'm going to show you here, so you can get to that point where you've got locational and financial freedom. So now that we've laid the sort of the foundation, okay, people coming in from every different walk of life, every different income station, every different experience station, every different knowledge station, certain things for somebody like me don't occur to me like that I should have to tell people things. And I'll give you a perfect example. We just covered this the other day. And it's stupid on my part. Okay, it is stupid on my part. Like, it shouldn't be a surprise to me that I should have to tell people to have written goals. Okay, it shouldn't be a surprise to me that I should have to tell people to have broken out written action plans on how to get, you know, what they need to do daily and how to eat an elephant plan to achieve those goals. Okay, and as I sit here and say that, then I'm like, you know, I have to have the facepalm moment and smack myself on the forehead and say, okay, but you know, based on all the Harvard studies and everything else, that only 3% of the population has written goals, and that 3% controls 97% of the wealth on the planet. So yes, you have to tell them. Okay, I mean, in 2017, should I have to tell you that you need written goals? Should I have to tell you that you need an action plan broken out on a daily basis, so there's no question when your feet hit the floor in the morning as to exactly what you have to do? I don't think so, but apparently I do. Okay, so this is, again, we talk about failures. Okay, failures on my part for not recognizing the fact that that should be step one, because you can't hit a target that does not exist. Okay. Can't get to a destination when you don't know what the destination is, and you certainly can't get there without the roadmap. So the other day in the Monday Morning Mastermind webinar, we went through, it was backwards. I should have done this one first. Okay, sometimes these things come to me in different sequences mentally. We went through the, okay, set your goal, and then here's your how to eat an elephant plan on how to get there financially, step by step, broken down. And we actually had people take action on that. They created they defined their goal, they broke it out. We created an accountability group, which I'll put the link in here over here too if you guys want part of that. True accountability, no BS. Don't waste everybody's time if you're not going to follow through. Okay, and there's enough of that all over Facebook. You can waste somebody else's time. This is for people that are genuinely looking to change their lives today, tomorrow, this week, by the end of the year. Okay. So we went through all that, and I realized when I was putting the webinar together today and thinking through last night, well, okay, what's the what's the best thing based on the last webinar that I could really do. And that was showing you guys how to get to what you're wanting. Okay, you want locational and financial independence. You want to make six figures. You want to get out of a slave job. You want to do all of these things. But how do you get there? Okay, it's not buying another course. It's not doing all these things. It's getting hyper-focused and understanding what it takes to be successful. The universe requires certain things. Business requires certain things. And if you don't know what those things are, most people flounder and they never get there. So let's go through what that is. When we talk about takeoff, okay, and if you're, especially if you're in a slave job right now, if you're not where you want to be, the most important thing to do is to achieve lift, okay, to take off. We went through this before. F-14 Tomcat, right, on the deck here of an aircraft carrier. They have to get this thing, I think it's 200, and this may not be 100% accurate, but I think it's 220 miles an hour they have to get it to in like 1.5 seconds, okay? And if they don't get it to that speed, they can't create enough lift to get this thing off the deck and into the air. And if that happens, these two guys have to eject in a split second, and a $40 million aircraft goes to the bottom of the ocean. Okay? So the way that they do that is, you see this backstop that's back here. They're going to take these engines and they're going to crank them up, kick in the afterburners so they get maximum forward thrust back here, and then right up here, if you take a look at this front wheel, they've got a hydraulic that's connected to this thing that's going to slingshot this thing forward. So they're doing everything humanly possible. These guys are going to take full throttle. They're going to kick the afterburners in. It's going to push off this backstop, and this guy right here with his yellow arm out, he's going to give them the go sign, and then bam, in that, whatever it is, second and a half, they're going to get catapulted down that runway to achieve the requisite speed for that aircraft to obtain lift in a couple hundred yards, whatever it is. It's not that far, whatever it is, I can tell you that much. And all this, all this happens very, very quickly, right? But it's like this maximum effort to get this thing off the ground. And if they miscalculate, if they don't put in maximum effort, it goes to the bottom of the ocean. And all that time and energy and money and everything is wasted. But if they do it correctly and they put in the maximum effort, this thing takes off, right? It goes, and they change lift, and they can climb in altitude. And then once they hit a certain altitude, cruising altitude, they can level off, and they can take that throttle, and they can ease that throttle back, and they can maintain altitude. Now, what's the analogy or the metaphor here? The metaphor here is you guys are this jet right here. And right now you're sitting here on the runway on this aircraft carrier, and you're in a very precarious position, okay, because this whole ship can sink. This whole aircraft carrier can sink. And it will if we don't get you off the runway, okay, because this is the fighter jet, right? We're going to get you off the runway so nothing comes in here and shoots holes in the aircraft carrier and the whole thing sinks while you're tied to it. What most people do not do, sadly, especially when they pay for courses and coaching, all this kind of thing, is, and it's, sadly, human psychology and human nature, the bright shiny object syndrome, is they'll go pay for something, they're all jacked up and excited, and then when it comes time to put in the effort, because what people really want is a get-rich-quick scheme. It's really what people want. I'm just here to tell you that's what people want. People want to skip all of the steps that are required. They want to skip the education. They want to skip the practice. They want to skip the implementation, and they want to get right to the profit. And that is not how things work in reality. In any type of business, the universe does not allow that. Okay, business does not allow that. The anomaly get-rich-quick thing is an anomaly for a reason. Okay, it's not how things work. You can't skip all those things. But that's what most people want to do. And then when they find out, oh my goodness, it's work, and we got to put in maximum effort here to get liftoff. Right, to get off the end of this carrier here to get up in the sky, and then we got to keep applying, maximum thrust to get to the cruising altitude. And then once we finally get there, then we can ease off a little bit, and we can maintain altitude and not crash into the ocean. But that's not how people approach things, okay? And that's the whole purpose of this webinar right now, is to show you guys what's necessary right now today, okay? Right now today, if you want to be successful in real estate investing, whether it's doing the retail sandwiches and assignments that I do, or show people how to do, whether it's doing conventional wholesaling, whether it's doing fix and flips, rehabs, doesn't make a difference. Doesn't make what flavor it is. If you're not putting in that maximum effort right now, and I'm not just going to tell you, oh, put in a lot of effort and that's going to make a difference. That's not what we're talking about. So let me show you what we're talking about. This is kind of what we came up with on the last webinar, sort of out of the blue. Here we go with the magic number 8 again. If you guys watch the Power of 8 webinar, you understand how 8 is somewhat of a magical number when it comes to success. I don't know why, but that's just the way it kind of works out. So what do we have, right? If right now you're working a slave job and you want to get out, if you're getting started in REI and you want to get to 6 figures, okay, or if you're already at 6 figures and you want to take it to 7 figures, here's what I know you're not doing on a daily basis already. You're not talking to 8 prospects per day, okay? Where does 8 come from? 1 per working hour. That's what you need to be talking to on a daily basis right now, okay? If we go back to this thing, I don't know how to back up on here, to get you off the runway. Okay, it's that initial burst of that just maximum thrust, energy, everything launching you, catapulting you forward. Okay, you need to be working on that for the next 90 days. And if you do that, okay, it is numerically, statistically impossible, short of complete economic collapse, that you will not be making 6 figures per month. Per month, not per year. Per month, if you follow what I show you how to do. Okay. We'll show you what the numbers are here. So just take the average deal at 400,000. Okay, $400,000 deal. Right. Times 6.5%. It's 5% down payment, 1.5% closing cost. It's 26 grand in revenue inbound. Multiply that times only 1 deal per week. That's $104,000 a month. Okay, 1 deal per week, 4 per month. The minimum revenue based on the minimum purchase price that I advise going after. That's $104,000 a month. Okay. How do you get there? Right here. Magic 8. Magic 8 ball. Do it for 90 days. And what happens? Okay, because here's what happens with where you are right now. The more people that you talk to, the more experience that you're going to get. Okay, you're going to get a collegiate education jam-packed into 90 days if you follow this. And okay, you don't have to be. It doesn't have to be 8 a day, 7 days a week. It can be 8 a day, 5 days a week. Okay, or it can be. You can bracket it out so that's 4 one day and 12 the next, or 6 one day and 6 whatever it is, 10 the next. Pardon me, but as long as you get to that number. The momentum, okay, the forward thrust and momentum that you will be creating will be exactly what you need for that massive burst of energy and liftoff. Okay? 8 per day. We showed you in the last webinar how to get them all for free in less than 30 minutes a day. But if you're talking to the 8 prospects per day, it is statistically impossible to not be closing a deal a week within, I'm going to tell you within 45 days, but we'll say 90 days just to make it seem like it's more realistic. Okay, and why does it work that way? Because guess what's happening? Now you're talking to eight people per day. That's, was that 40 per week? That's 40 different conversations now where you're gaining more confidence because you're talking to more people. That's 40 different people now that are asking you questions, some of which you may not have the answers to, which is a good thing. Now you have to go get those answers and get that education. The more education that you get, the more experience that you get, the more confident that you're going to be. Guess what that does to your closing ratio when you're talking to other people down the road in weeks 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? It just, your confidence is going to go through the roof. How well you communicate the information to people is going to, exponentially go up. You will become a master of your craft in a very short period of time. And guys, this is stuff that nobody else is going to teach you, okay? Why are they not going to teach you this stuff? Because it's work, right? It doesn't sell well. I tell you, hey, this is what you have to do. And we made a joke on the last one earlier today. Yes, I will see if I can somehow turn this spiel into something that actually sells, and we'll beta test it and split test it. But work does not sell. What sells is BS automation, so you don't have to work, right? BS some new marketing thing that nobody else knows about, so that theoretically you don't have to work, right? Virtual assistants, so you don't have to work. Those are all the things that sell in REI. What doesn't sell is, okay, the three things we talked about that you have to do if you want to be the very best in your field, right? Education, practice, implementation. Education, practice, implementation. Those three things. That does not sell well. Because people don't want to get educated. They want to skip education, they want to skip practice, they want to skip implementation, and they want to go right to payday. Right? Isn't that what you want? Seriously? Let's be honest. That's why I play the Powerball. We go right to payday. That's not how things work in reality. So if you're in a situation, you want to break out of that job, you want to break through 6 figures independently as an entrepreneur, you want to get to 7 figures as an entrepreneur, here it is. Here's your roadmap on exactly how to do it. Okay, if you go back to the last webinar, which I'm about to blast out the replay link for that if you didn't see it, on Monday, we show you how to set your goal. We show you exactly how to break out your How to Eat an Elephant plan. You guys can literally do this in about 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes max. We're going to get it programmed in a Podio so you can just punch the numbers in and have it auto-calculate everything for you. We'll get to that point. But then once you have done that, right now I'm telling you that this is the number that you want to get to, okay? So the goal is the destination. The How to Eat an Elephant plan is the roadmap. Now you know exactly where you're going and exactly what it's going to take to get to where you want to be, regardless of what that number is, regardless of what that station is, if it's just self-employment with 6 figures, if it's 7 figures, whatever it is. Now you know how to do it. Okay. Now the question is, will you do it? Are you going to do it? I mean, you're going to actually put in the effort to do that, to talk to 8 prospects per day. It's only 1 person per hour. And, you know, the good news or bad news, however you want to look at it, is that, you know, you're going to talk to somebody, and in the first 90 seconds, you're going to know that it's not a deal. Okay, now you're moving on to the next one. So that didn't take an hour. That took, 90 seconds. Okay, but the key is getting up to the plate 8 times in a day. And if you do that for a period of time, even if you only did it for 30 days, I'm telling you right now, it would exponentially launch you guys into the stratosphere here as it relates to putting deals together and doing deals and making money, because that consistency of prospecting and the momentum that it creates is what creates deals, and it's also that combined with very nominal follow-up will create for you deals that fall from the sky out of nowhere. So you talk to somebody today, and for whatever reason, timing isn't right, blah, 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 they don't move forward with you today, okay? But now they're in your tickler, they get remarketed to every couple weeks, every 10 days, twice a month, whatever. And what happens then is down the road, because you did that, because you had the initial communication and then you followed up, and it can all be automated, that aspect can all be automated, then out of the blue one day you're sitting there and here comes a $25,000 deal from nowhere that you make money off of, easiest deal you've ever done. It's called a laydown. Boom, falls out of nowhere, right in your lap, and you make money. But that does not happen unless there is momentum and consistency with prospecting. Okay, that's how you create those deals. Just like I told people earlier today, I've had people that have been on my email list for as long as 4 years. Okay, 4 years. Think about that. All of a sudden, out of the blue, here they come. Hey, I'm ready to do a deal. And you make money. I talked to them one time, 4 years prior. They got on an email list, and all of a sudden, out of the blue, there's been 4 years of consistency, 4 years of seeing deals done, 4 years of seeing houses contracted on, and now I'm ready. Okay? But, guys, this is something nobody's going to teach you. Again, it's what I call it's work that works if you work. Most people don't want to work, right? They want the lotto ticket. They want the annuity that pays out $10,000 a month without them working. And so you have to make that determination. Are you worth it? Okay? When you take a look at your underlying goal, whatever that is, okay, and most people, they put a monetary goal, so it's $1 million a year. $83,333 a month, okay? But that's not really the goal, okay? That's just a number. The goal is whatever the underlying experiences are and benefits that $83,333 per month provide. And so you need to visualize that and understand it, and is it worth it? So here's the easiest question that I can ask you, and I want you guys to answer this, okay? When you develop your goal, here, let's just do this. So here's your goal, whatever that is, okay? It's going to probably be monetary, right? So that monetary goal is typically where people start, and then they bracket it down to figure out how to get to it. When you look at the underlying reason for the monetary goal, for whatever it is that you think that's going to afford you, whether that's nicer car, nicer house, breaking free of the slave job, charitable giving, whatever your thing is, okay? When you look at nicer clothes for your kids, whatever it is that's going to do for you psychologically, emotionally, whatever. Here's the only question that you need to answer. Okay, I'm going to give it to you right now, and this is where, like the Bible says, we separate the wheat from the chaff. Okay, you guys understand what that means? We separate the winners from the game players. Okay, right now, it's a very simple question. So you have your goal, monetary. Think about it for a second before I put this up here. Get those feelings of what that would be like to accomplish that goal, and what is it that's happening. Okay, you're getting the brand new Mercedes, you're getting the Rolls Royce, you're getting the house on the hills that you wanted, you're getting the mini mansion, you're getting the whatever you're doing. You're going to Hawaii or Fiji, taking the family. You're doing what? Your kids are in all the cool clothes. You're buying your Lamborghini. I mean, whatever your thing is, right? Envision that for what it is, okay? Now, whatever that feeling is that experience you're giving, you know, all of a sudden you have more money to contribute to the charities that you want, or your church, or whatever that feeling is. I want you to think about that for a second, because here's how we're going to know if you're serious or not. There's only one question you have to ask. And that question is simply this: is it worth it? Okay? Is it worth it to do this, to get to this? If I told you, and I promised you, that if you did this every day for the next 90 days, or 5 days a week for the next 90 days, and it can all be done for free, because there's no excuse. Nobody has any excuse about why you can't do it. Don't have enough time? Outsource. You can get a VA to do the prospecting for you and then coordinate the calls. You get a $2 an hour VA in the Philippines. Hell, you can put up a Podio web form, or Wufoo, got a free Wufoo web form, and put that up and everything coordinated for you. So you don't even have, there's no excuse, okay, to line up your A prospects. You got time for that, okay? So the question is, if I told you that if you did this, I guarantee you, now, and I guarantee, because I'm going to do that, I'm going to guarantee you, because I know how this works. But if I guarantee you that if you did this, you talk to these 8 prospects, which will take you less than 30 minutes per day, or let me rephrase that, you were the VA, or your husband, wife, spouse, girlfriend, boyfriend, significant other, to generate for free. And you did that. And this was guaranteed, because it is, because I know how the numbers work, it doesn't work any other way. Is it worth it, okay? Would you do it? Are you going to do it? Is it worth it for you to have to do what's necessary to get to these 8 people every single day, or 5 days a week, for the next 90 days? And you can scale back, because then you won't have to do that at that point in time. That's the liftoff and getting to cruising altitude. Then we can ease the throttle back, because we've got momentum, right? So the question to you guys is it worth it? Nobody's answering. And that's, you can put it over in the question box. I can put a poll up, whatever, but is it worth it? That feeling that you got when you thought about what your goal was, is it worth it to have to put in the effort to do this to get to this? And if the answer is no, okay, if the answer is no, then the answer is no. And understand that for what it is. And, you got some realigning to do. But if the answer is yes, then you need to get to work, okay? And if the answer is yes, then you need to, and take this the right way, because I don't want to go off on the touchy-feely stuff. But if the answer is yes, it is worth it, whatever you just visualized, then you need to create a vision board. Okay? And that can be done on your computer. You can do it with a cork board and thumb tacks or whatever, where you print out or cut out magazines, whatever your goal is, your vision board of what you're trying to create. You need to do that because guess what's going to happen? Things get tough at times, right? You're going to get frustrated. You're going to get whatever. And so when those things happen and you take that dip, okay, emotionally, psychologically, you get burnt out, whatever it is, okay, you got to look back at whatever this vision is, okay, and realize why you're doing it so that you can get back up on that horse and do that. And really, I'm going to tell you something. You may not understand or appreciate or realize the power in this, but we laid down the challenge, and people have already put out there in the accountability group, which I'll see if I can get that for you guys right now, for those of you who weren't on it yesterday. Where is it? Okay, people have already done their action plans, they've already done all the stuff. When you're part of the accountability group, if you're serious, like I said, if you're not serious, you're just going to waste everybody's time, don't do it. There's other stuff you guys can go do. But there's the link, okay, for the accountability group. Now, everybody says that they'll do this. Okay, no, I don't mean everybody on here. I'm just telling you, typically when you ask people, okay, will you do this? This is going to be absolutely life-changing for you. It's guaranteed to work, okay, because you're doing exactly what's necessary. The real secret to success, it's guaranteed to work if you implement and you follow up consistently and you do exactly what we've outlined here today. It's absolutely guaranteed to work. It's called the 90-day burn. Todd Duncan wrote a book about this, I don't know, 15 years ago. 90-day burn, so the next 90 days, okay, we're going to just compress all of that energy. It's going to be 100% full throttle for 90 days to accomplish whatever your goal is. If you just simply do this one thing. Now, most people will say they will, okay? How many people do you think that say they will actually do it? Okay, so you need to think through that process because most will not. They'll do it for a day or two, and then they'll, then they start slacking off, and then whatever, because they're not serious. Okay, they're not serious. Like, they want to fuss about whatever their situation is, but they really don't want to do what's necessary to them. That's why, hey, let's be honest. That's why we talk about this stuff beforehand. That's why 76% of the population is one missed paycheck away from bankruptcy. Right? That's why 3% of the population controls 97% of the wealth. Most people are not serious. They don't have goals written out. They don't have action plans, and even if they do, it's merely a wish on a piece of paper because they're not putting in the effort behind it to get there that they've defined, okay, that they have defined. They already know exactly what it's going to take, but they don't put the effort in behind it, or they do for a period of time and then they fizzle out. And that's why people repeat the same cycles over and over again. They just, they're not serious. I don't know what else to tell you. It's just unfortunately the way it works. But there it is, guys. That's it. That is your the cliche word, your nugget of knowledge for today. It is not rocket science. It is not complex. There is no secret, or if there is a secret, if you want to call working a consistent plan a secret, I know it's not taught in favor of trying to trick you with automations and systemizations and outsourcing and everything other than you rolling up your sleeve and getting to work. Yeah, see, I told you it doesn't sell well, but that's what it takes. Okay, I mean there it is right there. That's what it takes. So now it's up to you. I've given it to you for free. There it is. Okay, now all you have to do is implement. That's it. Goal, vision. How do you need an elephant plan? Is it worth it? Understand your why, and then implement. Okay. When was the last time? I tell you what. Here, let's do this. Anybody that's on there. Okay. Anybody that's on here. When, if ever, and that may be, and I already know, Robert, I already know you're going to answer this, but when was the last time any of you ever spoke to 8 prospects for any product or service you were selling in a day? Anybody? Anybody ever done that? Oh, Clive, I love it. Yesterday, beautiful. See, consistency. Get it going and don't stop. So Elisa asked, how do you keep from fizzling out? This is challenging for most people, okay? We covered Craig, 1985. Craig, what was that for a job or was it for your business, Craig? What was that for? It was Back to the Future. So, Elisa, how do you keep from fizzling out? Okay, so again, you guys want the truth, the ugly, ugly, naked truth. Most people are not cut out to be self-employed. Okay. Why is that? Because they require disciplined structure because they cannot discipline themselves. And here, let me show you. Take a look at this. You want to see proof of that? Let me show you. All right. All right. Well, Akeem is not a good example because he is crushing it on fire and he's self-employed and making a ton of money. But if I go through my time, Jonathan's not a good example either. But if I go through, let me scroll down to get to some other people that are not oriented. If I go through my timeline here, you will see, or newsfeed or whatever this thing's called, person after person after person. Oh, here we go. Salad, wonderful. After person, posting. Oh, okay. Life can go on. Facebook is back. I don't even know what that means. Has Facebook been down or something? Okay. Okay. If you're reading this, leave me a GIF about your day. Okay. Is that monetized? You making money from that? Is this guy at work? What I know from internet marketing. Okay. Nope. There's my man Brandy Christie trying to find a mortgage guy. See, maybe my timeline's not the best right now. It's during the day, and I got all these REI people on here. Okay, but we go through enough of this, and what you will find on here is that person after person after person after person is posting stuff. Most of these people, and this is not me manufacturing this out of thin air, but most of the people that you're seeing posting these things are not self-employed. Most of these people right now are at their employer working. I know this from internet marketing stuff because we've been tracking this stuff for years. They're posting stuff because they're not focused, okay? And instead of doing this over here, right, they're over here. Once again, I cover this time and time and time again, ad nauseum, ad infinitum, posting and giving free content to Zuckerberg, who then monetizes it with all these ads, okay? And what they're doing is they're trading their life. God, so many crap people can post, okay? So forgive me if there's anything that's disgusting or offensive in here. These I delete people when I find most of that stuff. But anyway, most of the people that are on here, okay, they're not self-employed. They're not making 6 figures. Not making 7 figures. Not all of them. Some of these people are. Some of these people are. I got a lot of people that do make money and do work and do follow along with what I'm trying to tell you right now. But most of the stuff that's on here is like, you know, people that are not where they want to be, wasting time, okay, because they fizzled out if they ever even got started on something, which most of them don't, or they went from course to course to course to course, right? No consistency of anything, and they just keep posting and posting and posting. And this is one of the reasons why I swore years ago that I would never have employees again, because especially once we got going in internet marketing, it was very easy for me to see, just to understand analytics and what we could tell from servers and IP addresses where people are and all that. When I was here, this is a beautiful way to put it. When I was an employer, okay, I used to pay people, and they would sit around and goof around on the internet. Okay, and they would go spend money and spend their paycheck on the internet and buy stuff and whatever. And I swore, you know, after the 97th time coming back to my office and seeing that going on, I'm like, okay, I'm never doing that again. I don't have any desire to ever have an employee again. And I haven't had in 10 years, and nor do I have any desire to ever have one again. As an internet marketer, though, those people, I love them. I love those employees, because guess what they do? They go on my websites and they spend money. Okay? They pay me money. They buy stuff from us. Okay? So there's the difference. So when it comes to, you know, fizzling out, do you have, you know, I don't want to get involved in anybody's personal situation here on a live webinar, but yeah, you got kids. I don't know, do you have kids? Maybe you don't have kids. Do you have, you know, you got to figure out what your why is that's going to help you maintain focus. Most people can't work from the house. I'll be honest with you. Listen, hey, I'm not going to lie to you. It was very hard for me, okay, when I first started working for myself. Very, very challenging. You know, my wife, God bless her, she's a list person, and she has a legal pad with more stuff on it that she could possibly do in a day. And she gets, you know, there's no greater joy that she gets than taking a Sharpie out and marking something off of her to-do list. She's very goal-oriented when it comes to that kind of stuff. And so she like natively has that. Okay, that's her personality type. She natively has it. Not that I don't necessarily. I mean, of course, everybody wants to accomplish things, but I have a different personality set. Okay, my mind works a little differently. You know, my main focus on a daily basis is revenue generation and what's the, you know, how do we scale, you know, to the next thing. That's really what we're looking at on a daily basis. So some of the stuff is a little more nebulous than some of the action-oriented list stuff that some people do. But the short answer to your question is, you know, you're going to have to suck it up. I mean, you got to suck it up, and you got to make it a priority. Okay, if it's worth it. This goes back to why I said it. Is it worth it to stay focused? Is it worth it to make that extra call? Is it worth it to just resist that urge and that temptation to get on Facebook and post something that you're not getting paid for? You're not building a brand around. You're not doing anything. Nobody's paying any money for it. Okay, because you're working for free for somebody else, and you're trading your life. Now, if you got a husband, a wife, kids, mom, dad, uncle, aunt, other important person, dog, whatever. I mean, this is time and money that you're stealing from them. Okay, by wasting time on, and listen, we're all guilty of it. I'm guilty of it. I have to, I do everything I can sometimes. I mean, and sometimes I'm weak too. You guys have seen it. I'm not going to sit here and You know, my high horse with my white wig sitting in judgment on you with my gavel over here. I'm just as guilty as anybody else, and I have to sometimes do everything I can in my power to resist that urge and that temptation. Okay, so let me explain to you how I maintained focus years ago. Right, this is when I was in mortgage banking. I came up with the mantra, and I used to teach all my guys and girls the same exact thing, and that was stolen. It's a riff off of Brian Tracy, but how? Okay, ready? Here it comes. How is what I'm doing right now helping me close more loans? Okay, because I can sit there on the internet and screw around. Okay, or I could waste time doing something else. But so I would have to ask myself that constantly throughout the day. How will rhyme? How is what I'm doing right now helping me close more loans? That was my accountability to myself, right? And I'd have it written out, so I had to see it, look at it. Like, damn it, okay, I busted myself again, right? Convicted by my own conscience. So throughout the day, you know, at least I'm not busting you out here, okay? Because I just said I'm as guilty as anybody else, okay? You're very passionate about a lot of things. That's wonderful. Don't ever lose that. Sadly, you're not going to save anybody on Facebook, okay? So understand it for what it's worth. Yes, I know sometimes you got these things you want to get them out, and you know, whatever, all this political stuff and stuff about flags and all this nonsense that's going on all over the internet all day, every day. This mass distraction. It's a weapon of mass distraction. You know, what's the priority? Is the priority posting something on Facebook that doesn't make any money, or is the priority going over here and making one more call? Is the priority coming over here and figuring out some other avenue to prospect? Is there, you know, figuring out what's something else that you can do to help streamline and automate what you're doing? Okay, so you can make more money, make it faster, make it easier, right? Is there some other course or something that you can be taking to learn stuff, right? There's all kinds of free stuff on YouTube, all over the place. Well, I'm on YouTube learning stuff every single day for free. I've also got a bunch of paid stuff that we pay for. Courses, yes, I buy courses. Yes, I go through membership things. I'm in all kinds of stuff, okay, to learn more. Helps me provide more value for you. It also helps us make more money. Okay? It gives us greater education on this stuff. It's, you know, how I learned how to do most of the stuff I do on a daily basis, right? People look at me and they're like, oh, I can't believe you know how to do all that stuff, right? Well, it's because I had to resist that urge on Facebook and everything else to go learn something and implement it and learn how to do these things so that, you know, everything became, it's like anything else. It's hard initially, but then it becomes easier and easier and easier. So if fizzling, hey, here's the best, easiest way to answer it for you. If you're concerned about fizzling out, then get over here. Find somebody that you resonate with in the accountability group, okay? Partner up, because this whole thing here is about true accountability, okay? Not BS. So it's about true accountability. And if you need that right now, and there's nothing wrong with that, if you need that, a lot of people do. I told you, man. Look, when I first started, and I remember like it was yesterday, when I first went self-employed, it was hell. I had to because I had to cold call people, okay, which most people, you know, when you first start out, is not pleasant. I had to cold call people. I had to sit there and I had to make a list out. Okay, I got to get this done before I can go do the things that I want to go do. And that became the foundation for what I tell my kids all the time. Responsibility first, then play. Responsibility first, then play, right? Get your stuff done, get your responsibility done, then play. So my advice to you is if you're concerned about fizzling out, if you're concerned about burnout, if you're concerned about any of those things, okay, you get an accountability partner. You guys boost each other up, lift each other up. That's what you're there for, to help each other when you feel the fizzle coming on, when you feel the urge to go on a rant on Facebook or whatever. That's what it's there for. So we have gone like way too long here. So I hope that was beneficial for you guys. I will get the replay up as soon as I can. This is a massive one, so it's going to take a little while. And the other one is ready to go, so I'll blast that out now. But I hope that helped you, because it's, you know, the power is with you. You've got it. It's right here. It's not rocket science, okay? Okay? Take your goal, understand what it is, what's the vision behind it, the feelings that you're going to get from experiencing whatever that goal is, the monetary goal, and then determine, is it worth it to have to do this to achieve this? Because you're guaranteed, I'm telling you, if you break out the plan, How do you eat an elephant plan? Doesn't happen, can't happen any other way. They're your numbers. Okay? So watch the prior webinar. Watch this. You just got a hold of this one. Implement. Okay? You need help. Cheryl's over here crushing it. She's already put up the 90-day Magic 8 Ball Challenge, right? Okay? We got good momentum. Okay? To get results, to have some accountability, to help push you through that barrier and help you overcome yourself. All right? So, all right, guys. Hopefully that helps. You guys have a wonderful afternoon. If you saw any benefit in this, you feel like saying something nice on Facebook, that always helps. I appreciate it. But other than that, have a wonderful afternoon. I'm going to go pass out now from having been on here for 4 hours. But seriously, go get them, all right? It's up to you. Let's get this thing going. Let's get you guys some momentum. Let's make some money.